Okay, great. So, hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar about tool testing for placemaking and climate action. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Milena Ivkovic. I'm an architect and urban designer, creative director of Block 74, and also part of the Tooltest Day crew, together with Todor Kisarevsky, Angel Bondov, and Victor Kasala. And I'm also leading a Placemaking Western Balkans network, which just started next week. So we are very fresh and new. And today on this webinar, we're going to talk about the tool testing of different placemaking tools. We're going to talk about the tool testing methodology. And we are going to also talk about the Placemake Earth initiative and what placemaking can mean for climate action. We have 4 different speakers on this. We have Todor Kisarevsky from our Tooltest Day crew. We have Victor Kasala from Krasi Terasi. We have Ryan Smoller from Santa Ana Downtown Municipality, and also from leader of the Placemaking US, initiator of the Placemake Earth challenge. And we have Angel Bondov from Informal Bulgaria and also Tooltest Day crew. Before we start, and before I give the words to Todor Kisarevsky, my dear colleague from Tooltest Day crew, just to say a big thank you to Cost Action European Program for supporting us for this webinar and taking us into the part of their program Dynamics of Placemaking. So Todor, please, can you share with us your screen so we can talk a little bit more about placemaking, tool testing methods, and how can we initiate climate action with placemaking.
All right, I hope you see my screen now. Right, Mila?
Yes, I can see your screen, so please go ahead.
Excellent. All right, hello everybody. Thank you for joining, first of all. It's great to have your attention for this webinar. What we're going to speak is as me, who is going to open today the discussion and the presentation. I will give you a little bit more of a background of what we're doing and who we are. I saw some familiar faces, so for those of you who kind of know more about us, I will excuse myself, but the idea is to also present it to new people. So probably you'll be with a lot of things you could be familiar, but hopefully you'll learn something new. Okay, as Milena introduced us, this is us, the Tooltest Day crew, leaders in Placemaking Europe, and kind of initiators of this international cooperation of tool testing. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the inception of how this thing developed. We have to track down, I mean, in a way, I don't know if you're familiar with Placemaking Europe network, but basically it's a network of a lot of internationals working on a team of placemaking that we joined forces kind of from 2017 onwards, and it's keep developing to kind of collaborate and help each other in with our practice and research. So little by little, I think, but the real takeoff of the Tooltest Day initiative was probably in Stockholm in 2018, where more than 100 placemakers gathered to discuss and work and collaborate on how actually we can make this network of professionals something that is very useful for us. And as you can see, also, I mean, in this little representation, they were really like a very wide representation, even outside Europe. So this was great experience. There, we had this first kind of draft for the toolbox of Placemaking Europe. Again, this is something that it developed a lot in the last years. But what we really got kind of engaged with already there as a group was like, okay, it's great to share tools. It's great to have this knowledge gathered, but also what we think is good is that we can also focus on the tool testing really, and how we can actually apply these tools around and learn more in the process. So how we did that, of course, as I said, we were representatives from all different places around Europe at this point. And we were having our regular Skype conversations. Little that we know that this was actually kind of a lifestyle preparation for what followed just a year after. But the whole concept there was that we were really, I mean, we were recognizing the potential that, yes, we represent a lot of countries, a lot of different contexts, a lot of different potential for material creation or comparisons. So we're thinking, then we came with the idea, okay, what if we just take one tool and then we start applying it in different contexts, and we kind of share the experience about it and probably try to improve it, try to kind of curate it for our own context, what we are gaining and what we are losing and so on. So this was the vision back then, that actually this could be an initiative that could foster the European placemaking network to be as collaborative and to strengthen the knowledge among all of us, while actually also we kind of getting more in touch with each other. So yeah, as simple as that, there's tools that we really wanted to go a little bit more into hands-on approaches and then see what it happens. Conceptually, we kind of developed this in a relatively, I hope, simple way. I don't know how easy it's already to see it, but we're thinking, okay, if we have a tool, then of course we had our own terminology here, but it's like there is somebody that is developing that tool. So it's a person that is kind of owning the tool. We call tool provider. And then the logic there was that we can, this person can kind of share his methodology with other people if he's willing to, and to kind of guide them through the process of how he or she is envisioning this, the usage of this tool. And then we kind of coordinate different actions in different places of Europe and eventually the world after that, but that was the initial thing. And then everybody comes in with this step by step. Everybody happens to kind of test it. So I mean, again, what I'm saying here is that the tool provider gives the knowledge and also some kind of instructions during the test days, and also, but then the local organizers kind of give the feedback loop. What we're envisioning back then, and this developed even further, is that okay, even the best thing was that actually we can keep in touch also, like local organizer and local organizer on different places, and kind of improve each other's like approach. So this is what we did. Our pilot case was a tool that is called Space Sensation from Mindspace, based in Budapest. It was a simple kind of tool that you can have different kind of approaches, like so you can observe places by sitting in chairs or in some public space, and you can speak with each other or just look. You can walk very slow through spaces. And then observe again a lot of things without speaking. You can also have a pair exercise that you can like you don't look at the space and one person is just explaining it to you and you're drawing and so on. So the logic there was that okay, we can test the different types of these tools in different places, and then this already happened in, like, we did 12 tests in 9 different countries. And yeah, it was everybody will be like free to, of course, target spaces that they're more I mean that it's more interesting for them, or there is more logic to work with them, or ideally kind of connected with your own I mean projects that you're doing. That was the other thing that we're interested in. So how we can also foster the projects that you're kind of working on. no matter whether it's research or design project at this point. We're not really specifying that. So yes, this give us a lot of interesting cases before that, and then of course the best thing was that we actually even can gather together in Valencia and even do it a little bit more face-to-face experimentation, and that we can even like work on the approach, how we can do that better, and so on. And that actually gave us a great experience, give us, I mean, great memories in Valencia. And not only that, but that pilot also really start making us see that there is something in there. And what we wanted to do further was to kind of, okay, try to be a little bit more systematic about it. And whether we can see on what kind of scale somebody tested the tool, the specific tool, what kind of knowledge the participant have before, like whether they're professional or they don't have any knowledge about placemaking or spatial design and so on, or whether it's general. And of course, something about the performance in terms of satisfaction with the efficiency, how many people were joining in this particular event, and a little bit more kind of freestyling feedback, in like a bit open-ended feedback to actually what was unexpected outcomes, for example, and some comments and questions to improve the tool. So, I mean, ideally, in the end of the day, the logic there is that also to help the tool provider, or the person that has the tool, to kind of make his tool better, her tool better. So already back then, we kind of shaped this methodology after the pilot of the we call it the Tooltest day journey, which is it has 5 steps. And the first step is kind of check in, and then we get in touch. So check in with what kind of tool or initiative or topic we are working with. Everybody is welcome to join. Then we get on board. So we form a cohort regarding the experiment. During that time, of course, this is something that we developed a little bit later also, but it was the logic was also to give this structural knowledge. So either the tool provider or the people that are very familiar with certain topics, that they can give this practical knowledge, and then go through the process of organizing local action and local experiments. Then we go in the third step, which was set, that we can actually speak about each other's experiments. So we can think about, or like we present to each other what we're thinking to do. So we can give active feedback, so within the cohort. And then between step 3 and 4, it's probably kind of the most important step, which is kind of conduction of the experiments or the tests and so on. So, I mean, ideally, we like to, I mean, we cannot force anybody to participate, but like in active communication. But some of us who did, it's also interesting to kind of reflect while we're doing something directly on the spot and so on. And of course, this is the process in which everybody that is participating really kind of, I think this is the major, also the major motivation why we're doing this, is that we are actually learning a lot of ongoing, like practical knowledge that are like doing tacit knowledge, if you want to say, like learning by doing, which is on the core of what our initiative is all about. So then it's like the action, which is like the finishing of the action. And when we get back in the last stage, which is kind of checking out from the journey for this kind of session, like, or this kind of edition, where we kind of share learnings, evaluate, and reflect. So all in all, that's the idea. We already got the pros only on the pilot, that it allows a lot of efficient exchange of practical knowledge, that it favors the creation of meaningful connections, something that we within the network and outside something that we kind of we have a proof of concept, because Ryan, who presents today, like after that, a little bit more about the Placemaking Earth challenge, is a person that we never met each other in life physically, but we're like we know so much about each other's work now and so on. Again, another pros is that the tools could be also effectively developed based on multiple tests, various contexts, situations, so it could be very efficient in that sense. And yeah, the peer-to-peer learning, like the core of why we're doing that, and like that we are actually going into really understanding what this tool is about. Of course, we have this also, we have to be honest about our cons, and that every now and then we have to encounter that, but because the concept really relies on I mean, first of all, people sharing tools or sharing knowledge, let's say. I mean, we haven't had that much problem, but of course we can understand that this could stop some people to participate. And then the concept really relies a lot of voluntary work if you cannot connect it to a project that you're doing. However, then you really have to like what you're doing. So, I mean, it's a con that could be really transformed in pros. And just to finish, I think, and this is kind of the transition towards the next speakers, is that this first pilot was great, but then what we really realized is that we also really want to get our heads dirty. We are really eager to do that. So the next 2 test days that we did was kind of / experimentation of tools, but also experimentation of tactical urbanism actions. So we did that like a little bit after, like in December 2019, January 2020, we did Light Up Your Street, which was experiments with lighting, something that Victor will show you, an experiment that he did. And then the Placemake Earth challenge came, which things for us really grew, because we got Ryan and the crew from US who really brought this to another level. So it's kind of, we kind of even managed to help each other further to develop this concept, and he will tell you more about it. So I will not take more from their time. I just want to encourage you also, because I think for us it's great to have this as part of the cost initiative, because we know that a lot of you are academics or working in the universities or in research. So we really feel like we want to kind of encourage you in this talk and in the last session to kind of, if you have ideas of how this methodology can be improved, or like in feedback in any kind of way, we're very happy to hear it. But also what is even more interesting for us is to hear from you if you have certain topics that you want to explore, or like in tools to test, because this is something that we are really thinking that we can contribute a lot of input. And then, of course, if you feel that this methodology and this kind of experimental loop could be beneficial, if it's connected within your educational institution, we will be really happy to hear how you reflect on that. Apart from that, of course, everybody is welcome to join our actions, and any feedback is welcome. So thank you very much, and looking forward to the free-flowing session as well.
Thank you, Todor, for giving this this kickoff start and overview of the tool testing methodology that was actually born out our needs, let's say, to see how many of these tools that are developed all over the world. There is a massive amount of tools and toolboxes, but there is so much little about implementation and cross-experiencing the same tool in different contexts as a way to understanding what is the value of that tool. I think that's at the core of our work. And I think the second presentation of Victor Casala will show really what is the value of certain well-known tool as working with light, but then in different contexts. And Victor, can you please share your screen so our participants can see how this tool test day is evolving and has been applied across Europe?
Yes, thanks. I'm going to do it. Just a second, please. Okay, this one. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
And can you hear
this
me
is nice.
well?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so I will tell you something about what we did in Petržalka in 2020, when was the second Tooltest Day had organized by Tooltest Day crew, and it was called Light Up Your Street. So we changed it a little bit for Light Up Petržalka 2020. We choose light according the kind of it was January when we did this tool test, and we were trying to get it exactly organize it on the longest night of the year. If I remember, January or February, I'm not sure. So we here in Petržalka we have had a student workshop. I will tell you about a little bit. We organized it with my NGO Krasy Terasy, which is focused on special type of public space in Petržalka, which is like a district of socialist era, panel housing area. And here you can see where the River Danube on the top, but let's move. So this is the area where we were working on, what we were working on. We were trying to start a new participatory process to increase the quality of public spaces here with my NGO, our NGO. And so it was actually these two spaces. First one is the north side terrace of the house, and the front side on the south, which is actually, as you can see, closed, or it was it's still closed, but it was like totally extreme potential public space with extreme potential, but it was closed and no one used it. So when we started the discussion with neighbors from the building block, from the block, it was around 480 people, because it's 100, almost 200 flats in that house. So we were counting like it might be around 500 people, and also like our partner, the library, is situated in the plinth or parterre of the ground floor of that building. So we're partnering with them also, of course. So here was like the very first meeting with neighbors, but on this meeting we also discussed with them our like very first proposal, how can we bring back life on this public space. But actually they told us that problem is somewhere else, and they mentioned it more times, and that's exactly where our thought of participating also in Light Up Your Street came in reality, that there was darkness everywhere during the night, and people felt they're very unsafe. And so we told them, okay, of course, as this is so important problem, we will solve it first. So we wanted also to achieve their like trust that we mean it real. So this is the before these pictures, before the process and before Light Up Your Street. The problem was, and it's still, that this terrace belonged to no one. Like during the privatization of the flats, these flats are, all of them are private owned by their people who live there. So but the terrace itself, it belongs to no one. There is nothing, no one we could ask to repair the lighting there. So we were trying to find solution, and thanks to our partners in the ground floor, we were able to prepare a workshop. And the basic idea was to use interior lighting panels to enlight the public space behind the windows. So it's a kind of anti-vandal solution, and it's like it could also give a potential to make it like more artistic, or create it in some also nice designs. So that's why we actually prepared a workshop. we bought material, LED technology, and diverse types of lighting systems, and all what we needed. We had our professional electrician support. Here you can see on the top. Actually, it's from the back, but that Joseph, who helped us very well with the David, with his colleague from one company who really works with developing of lighting systems, and they were working, you know, this hard stuff of connecting the cables, and this actually Todor mentioned everything that I kept it in my presentation about Placemaking Europe and Tooltest Day. So I will come through here. Actually, it's like information that Tooltest Day Light Up Your Street had 3 webinars, and 10 cities in Europe and the USA get to this project. And also, actually, that means that there were tested 10 diverse ways how we can use light in public space. Here is a slide about some tries in Netherlands, in Stavanger. That is Todor's house, just to mention. and also in what was that, Milana? You know, this city, we've been there together. Whatever, it is also in the Netherlands. But you can see on the map that many cities got involved. And yeah, Placemaking Europe. And now about partnering organizations here in Petržalka, everyone has its responsibility. We as Krasy Terasy, we were kind of organizers or main organizers of the whole process here. And we got finance support by City District Office Petržalka, and also the partnering organization from the local, from the area we've been working on. And because we organized the student workshop, we also partnered with Faculty of Architecture at Slovak University of Technology, which actually provide us spaces where we could build these panels, and of course students who built these panels. So it was a very nice cooperation of diverse stakeholders from public, private sector, and NGOs. And research. So workshop itself, here is the poster for the students. We try to explain what are we going to do. It took us 4 days workshop. First day was like introducing presentations, and morning of the second day was about getting into the place and check it how it looks. We made the place game there, so it was kind of analyzing of this public space. Then students have time to work with lights, like to find out what are the abilities of each lighting system, and to design what are they want to do with it. And this for example is design of one of these panels. The idea was because of the ground floor, interior of the ground floor is used by public library as their workshop room. We wanted these panels to be nice, not only to outside and light the outside space, but also act as a kind of art in interior side. So here you can see the back part of the panel of one of these panels, and this is the front part where are the lights situated. This means PK. It's a Petržalska knižnica in Slovak. So the public library in Petržalka. Just to explain, it look kind of like this. Here is also like the materials which were used. We asked the authors to prepare these kind of slides so we can share it publicly. to inspire more people maybe to do something like this and explain how we did it. And then of course work time started. So for 2 days students had time to prepare their designs and finish them before grand opening or grand and lighting. Yeah, some wire stuff. That's me. And we used very easy accessible stuff also in electricity that everyone can get it. This is, for example, how we managed the automatic automatic enlighting and turning on and turning off, actually, because it's like a timer which you can get in every hobby shop or everywhere. So when we finished, it looks something like this. And this is kind of special one of them. This was kind of recycled sound microphone system, which actually helped or which when you were walking around and you were speaking, this cube started to shine strongly, or you know. So you could actually, it's called it's written "Szepnij mi," like speak to me. So you could actually be like connected with that outside in. And this is kind of grand opening of this area. As if you remember picture before of this tunnel, it was totally dark already during the day, and this is kind of change we brought there. This is two other or three other panels are here in the front, so we also enlightened this part. And so short evaluation. If we speak about problem, I think we think that we solved it. It was a problem not only with the darkness, but also with the no owner of that space. So we solved it our way, how we could. We did successful test of this solution. We connect diverse types of stakeholders from public, private sector, research institution, and NGO for kind of small budget, I think. And we used and also we teach students how participatory processes are important, and how local community and also placemaking is very important in their career in the future. And we send message to neighbors like, yes, let's do it, let's continue together. And also by local media, we spread this this project and the initiative to the world. So let's see what it was before and how it looked after. So you can see the results, before and after pictures also here. And this is the tunnel before and after the workshop was done. So at the end, we trying to, as Todor said, we're trying to make it more systematic and to take kind of research into our approach. So this is the graphs I did for our workshop here in Bratislava. And the aim is to make this kind of graphs for diverse contexts and see where they are same or they connected, and where they are extended or diverse. So we can so based on that we can create maybe we can show which tool is better in which phase of the process, or for what kind of level of experiences or participants. And down at the bottom, you can see also some advices of each tool user to the tool provider, like for example, what you would do different next time, or if you have any comments, like how you think it can be developed better, or if there are some outcomes you didn't expect and actually happens. And so that also helps to tool provider to get some feedback about its tool. So thank you for your attention. Just one message of our NGO, which is in Slovak for you. But actually it's a statement of Jane Jacobs, which you all probably know, like cities can give something to its people only if people are involved in their development, and that they are created by people. So thank you. If you have any questions, please feel free. Or
let's do it in the end.
Okay.
And unmute. Okay. Thanks a lot, Victor, for this presentation. It's really great to see that what we have started as a Tooltest day, and the first tool that we tried to test all over Europe, let's say, the light, and working with light and communities and simple light installations has actually got attraction in Petržalka, and you got also some sponsoring and support from the local municipality and support from the academia. And I think that shows what is the potential of this whole exercise, let's say, how people are, and especially placemakers and people connected to public space, are eager to share knowledge, but they're also eager to really perform actions in the space they're living in. Having said that, I would like to transition to Ryan Smoller, who we actually met during this first Tooltest day and learning with lights, and he showed us wonderful examples from downtown Santa Ana in California in the United States. Really blew our minds with beautiful light installations that he collected also all over the world. And that was also the beginning of our collaboration on these knowledge exchange webinars, because the Placemake Earth initiative started really within at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. So please, Ryan, can you share your screen with us and tell us everything you know about placemaking and Placemake Earth Challenge and your work?
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon,
Hello.
good evening. Excited to be here. My name is Ryan Smolar. I'm the initiator of the Placemaking US network, as well as I run a business improvement district in Southern California and a food systems alliance in Southern California. And as folks have already said, I got started in tool testing as a participant, and immediately before that, I was in Kuala Lumpur at Placemaking Week Asia with all these placemakers around the world, and we were actually at this table in this cafe talking about how can the placemaking movement change the world. And in that conversation, it came up about how the placemaking movement and Earth Day are really co-intertwined through history in New York of Fred Kent from Project from Public Spaces. And so we got really excited about the idea of doing something with placemaking around Earth Day. And immediately after that, I learned about the tool testing projects that Todor and Milena and Victor and Angel were initiating over in Europe, and was lucky to participate as with my business improvement district hat on in Southern California, where we lit up these historic buildings. And as the bid, we have money resources to promote our downtown area. So we were actually able to put a little bit of money behind this idea, as well as get other placemakers through the Placemaking US network to work with us at that time. And we were really hooked and really saw how this tool testing concept shows how the little things that we're doing in our neighborhoods that we often have to fight for, like everyone thought I was crazy wanting to light up buildings in the middle of winter, But I found the support through all of the efforts that we were now a symphony of across the world. So it's an amazing peer group of projects that people in their community might be fighting or curious to try something, to change something. And this tool testing really gives us a format and a peer group to work with to further those goals. And furthermore, connect them from these local actions, which may seem small, but when they're taken all together, they're really tied to what our whole entire world has to do in its urbanization. And so tool testing for me provides a format or a more formal process to go through when you're testing your ideas or trying to change something in your community and find new partners, where it's sort of a snowball effect where you start working on it, learning about it, talking about it, and suddenly there's all these amazing resources in the community to get things done. So we start tool testing out by calling for people who want to participate, and people from all over the world have taken up the challenge to participate with us and to play along and do tool testing in their own areas, but then it adds up to this big world picture with all the little actions we do. And it's so exciting because I think it's really exciting that this has blossomed during the pandemic in a sense, because there was so much global conversation and collaboration through the webinars that we bring together, where we're actually building global knowledge by working on these little projects in tandem with each other. Yeah. And we've gotten much more, you guys can see my screen, right? Just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And we've gotten really good at creating different ways of engaging the community that we bring together. For example, this was an activity where folks went into breakout rooms and they helped to define their biomes, where they live, the flora and fauna. And you had people from all over the globe participating, finding commonalities and differences in the situations that they're facing. And in our first year of doing Placemake Earth, because we've done it now twice, we really worked out of the framework that Eric Kleinenberg put forth in Palaces for the People, that the importance of social infrastructure and social resilience at the heart of climate resilience. In that book, he really highlights how during disasters, which is how a lot of climate impact is felt in local communities, it could be fires, supply chain upsets, or fires, or supply chain upsets. And so it's really that resilience on your neighbors and knowledge of each other that becomes a big factor in who survives through climate episodes. And so a lot of the projects that we saw come together were social projects like community gardening projects. The bee down there was part of a Defend Earth climate gallery, bringing artists together around climate change. And the flyer at the bottom is for a plogging event where folks they jog and pick up garbage. So there's all these social activities to build more interconnectivity. We also had a lot of interesting digital interconnectivity happen with because it was during the pandemic. So our friends in Pontiac, Michigan used their mind mapping skills to help placemakers in Florida, halfway across the country, to do some placemaking declaration work and mapping of how placemaking is affecting climate there, as well as in Japan. They got together and did this activity called Place Dreaming, where people from all over the country pulled up images of pictures, and you can see on the bottom kind of co-drew all over them to come up with ideas. So we have this kind of like support from outside the community, in the community, and different tools as part of this taking form. The second year that we did Placemake Earth, we wanted to get more into people understanding the nature around them, and that it's not just a human environment, that there's plants, there's animals that are also bellwethers of climate health in your area. And so we analyzed, we did a lot more analyzing of our situations together and apart. And it was so interesting to see, what are the similarities, the differences, and look at the whole world with the sort of differences in some places, like in Southern California, we have no water. And then places like in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, they have more water than they know what to do with. And so learning about those differences. And in this process too, by drawing out the process of the tool test to a few months, I feel like we developed these things we kind of started calling our Placemake Earth eyes. So because the first webinar, the second webinar, the third webinar are all spaced out, over time, you start to notice more things in your built environment that are pertaining to climate, pertaining to the social and the physical changes, the use of nature services. And so we started to see those things happen over time. In the second year, we kind of evolved what we did at the Business Improvement District, where the first year I had led the charge and we had done the lighting of the historic buildings. But then when we got to Placemake Earth, we really wanted to get the community more involved in this process. And so we, as the Business Improvement District, gave out $1,000 grants that people could apply for. We got applications from artists, from businesses, from residents, and a lot of them were not highly, some of them were involved in climate change issues and nature issues, but some were new to the topic and used this as a springboard to get them and their communities more engaged. And so, whereas the first year of Placemake Earth, we worked more with the social resilience aspect, the second year, we really wanted people to get more aware of the nature around them and to also co-design with nature. And so we saw projects locally come to life, like this is Denise Reynoso, who is a mom and lifelong resident of her area, which is a Latinx area. It's a park poor area. It's an area that has a lot of environmental injustice. And she lives in a condo building that's actually two buildings separated with this landscaped area in between. And so she applied to convert that area into a place, and with her neighbors, got all her neighbors together. She was so nervous, she'd never done that, and brought them flyers and promised pizza, and got all these neighbors to come out and to build this place together. And they also did something I think was really innovative, was they also added a little free library to the garden. So now it's programmed with children's reading time, and it's a place that, moms can hang out and the community can have parties. So this built that social resilience, but also that awareness over biological processes and planting and healthy food, and creates a prompt for some of those conversations to take place in the community. Another really awesome surprise was an artist in our community, Priscilla, who's kind of known as the girl on roller skates because she's always roller skating around, and she's very quiet, so you wouldn't know all this was in here, but she applied immediately, saying that she was connected to landscape artists in Mexico City and partnered internationally, basically, to bring this project to life in Santa Ana, which was actually inspired specifically by one of our webinars, where we had a landscape architect from an international firm, Sasaki, explain to us that in a lot of landscapes, verticality is left out of the mix. So a really high concept of, every park you've been to that's just flat and feels kind of boring, it's missing those vistas and those elements of scale. And so Priscilla came up with the idea of utilizing a big box stores, repurposing a big box stores like a shelving ladder as a mobile garden in downtown. And so this mobile, bilingual, solar powered pump garden has been making its way around downtown, bringing awareness to some of the local foods and the cultural elements and uses for those. Oops. And then all the way across the country for us, we had other Placemaking US activists taking on projects. This is Tina Govan, and she did both years participated once with wildflowering and rewilding. She actually got a crew of people together who learned from their local parks department how to care for trees by removing ivy from them. The ivy that covers the trees in the southern United States is beautiful, but it's actually choking the trees. And so they became these urban rangers and went out and now have a little posse that goes and rescues trees in the habitat. So learning more about how the habitat works and how we can work to create the places that are healthy on all levels. Another really cool thing about the tool testing is not just are you like all inspiring each other to keep working and seeing each other's ideas and wanting to then, do them, but we've also had jurists. And so Catherine Pinehart, I think, has been our jurist, one of our jurists twice. And these are real people engaged in the climate and placemaking conversation in the academic world. And they've just been so excited to see how some of the ideas that maybe are more technically understood at those levels really diffuse through the population and get taken up by local people. And that's really important. We were just in Flint, Michigan, and one of the placemaking practitioners there also works with universities who are studying populations, and really talked about a trend in that field that it's not as appropriate maybe to go and study people as it is to have them participate in the study with you. And so in taking actions together, really learning about where the fault lines are and what the languages are that are being, and the talents that are in the community, and bringing those all together, which is something that placemaking and tool testing is really good for. I wanted to talk to you about the sustainability a little bit of these projects. I think the tool tests are primarily meant to be temporary, but in a lot of cases, I've also utilized the tool test to bring together more permanent change. And so in this instance, we utilize Placemake Earth to get a group who runs a local community garden together and excited about a micro grant that they got to build an actual farm stand. And they were very leery about building this farm stand because they're a small garden and they didn't think they had enough food being grown at the garden in order for them to justify opening this farm stand. And then we're going to give the produce away as donation based. And I told them, well, I think if with all the energy of these people coming together, doing this activity together, I think the answers will come. And so the process started with the tool test, and they got everyone excited about the vision and built the farm stand over like a 2-day period. I think a lot of the supplies was donated, and a local artist was hired to really lead the vision and make it something beautiful that people would rally behind. And immediately they were approached by a group that has basically unlimited access to farm fresh free food. So now they open this farm stand every 2 weeks. It brings people to the property. It goes viral every week. And we named it in honor of one of the farmers there who, is a quiet person that you might walk by, and he's become kind of a celebrity because of his farm stand and the public engagement that's getting created out of and honoring his amazing work in creating this place. So we really see this tool testing as something that we want to keep doing. We want to get other business improvement districts and granting bodies supporting, because I think that $1,000, $2,000 little grant that goes with a tool test and all the information that comes with it is really a very nice package. I was so really surprised that the people who we gave grants to locally, they participated in every global webinar. So they are people, a mom, a restaurant owner, an artist in my community who maybe even never heard of placemaking or never saw themselves connected globally to the topic of climate resilience and change in their community. They learned so much, spent hours learning, and then brought projects and people, projects to life, and brought people together around those concepts in our community. And that continues to grow. those people continue to become leaders. The girl Priscilla, after she created the vertical garden, she approached the city with a plan to re-beautify and landscape all of the downtown parking garages. The mom who lives in the downtown district, she's now on my board. So we see these people take positions in society where they can then make more changes, and they're more aware of how the local and global and connect and what is known in their community about nature and how to live better. So we're really excited about this process, and also the amazing relationships that we've made with the Tooltesting crew and then the participants around the world.
Perfect, Ryan. Thank you. This is really the essence of all these beautiful webinars that we had during the last 2 years, and just to see what was the impact on the ground combined with those webinars. So it was not just, you know, talking to what are the policies, what are the designs, possibilities, but really people doing it on the ground, understanding what placemaking is and improving their public space, understanding what climate change is, and understanding also what is their natural environment. And just to shortly summarize the impact of the Placemake Earth webinars is, of course, as you yourself said, so many different people from so many different layers of knowledge about public space, starting from people working with municipalities like yourself, and people who are professional landscape designers like Sasaki, Anna Corsi, or the Marco Casagrande from Finland, who was also our speaker at the Placemake Earth webinars, up to people who lead NGOs working with citizens like Helene Gallis and Nabolas Hager, who was also very prominent at our webinars. And then local artists and local people, completely, you know, like just being interested and eager to do action. I think that's one of the biggest values of those Placemake Earth webinars, to be able to bridge those, let's say, sectors who somehow work on themselves in planning, but we managed to bring it all together with this wonderful idea. Speaking about social impact, let's hear it from Angel Bondov, our last speaker. Thank you, Ryan, so much. And I hope you can stay a little bit longer, so we are going to discuss in Q&A the next Placemake Earth challenge. Angel, please, can you share with us your slides with informal actions in Bulgaria?
Yes, thank you, Milena. Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, great. Hello, everyone. I'm going to talk about an action called Tree Activists. It took place in the city of Haskovo. It's a city located in the southern part of Bulgaria. It's a regional center with population around 70,000 people. And it's most famous for two things. The first one is the highest statue of Virgin Mary with the infant Jesus in the world, which is 31 meters high. This is it. And the second thing are these. These are the famous poplar trees in the city. There's a song that is written about them. But there occurs the problem that these trees, together with much more in the city, have been cut in this very aggressive way, which is kind of a problem. So yeah, you can see some more examples. The trees are cut this way, and in the next year or the next season, they look like this. That's why we have decided to join the second edition of the Placemake Earth Challenge, co-design with nature. And triggered by this problem, me and my girlfriend reached to the solution. And we were surprised that almost no one in the city is publicly speaking about this thing as a problem. That's why we decided to do a secret guerrilla action we called it Three Activists. We named ourselves Three Activists, and we have decided to put cardboard signs with message and hang them on these brutally cutted trees. And also important part of the whole process was to give a personality of each tree, so to make it like the trees are speaking by themselves. In order to do this, we choose a location, one main street, which is leading to the biggest park in the city, which is named Kenana Park. There are 14 aggressively planted trees, which you can see on this photo. So we found some old cardboard boxes from its toys. We recycled them by using some acrylic paint and wrote some poetic and a little bit ironic messages. So the result was that 14 hand-painted cardboard signs were created for all 14 trees on this street. For example, you can see this one. This is kind of a wordplay because the municipality structure that is responsible for cutting trees and for maintaining the whole green system in the city is called Eco Progress. But that's why we posted the question if it is Eco Progress or Eco Regress. So the exact action took part on the Earth Day 2021. Around 3 a.m. in the morning, we put the 14 signs. Around 6 a.m., we sent a press message that we were elaborated before. We sent it from the name of 3 activists to all of the local medias. Then we had like a short rest, and then we went back and took these photos that I will show you now. And at 9 a.m., one of the local media posted our press message, and we were like free to share it all over social media. But we didn't know who did it. In fact, that was our point. And you can see this is the translation of this first thing, which says, I needed light operation, not such a brutal castration. And you can see the faces of all the trees that express their emotions. So some more of the messages. For example, this one is saying, cutting me like this, it's the future of our kids that you dismiss. And the one on the right is saying, you want to be shaded, my body has faded. And a couple more, I'm sure that you got the idea, but yeah, this one is, I just wanted a normal life, not to be crippled by an idiot. In Bulgarian, they sound much more poetic. And one on the right is saying, just rest in peace. Yeah. What were the results? Times were removed very fast. We took photos around 7 a.m., probably at 9 or 10, when the following media coverage was shared online. The signs were missing, so only one media find them in this way, find them in place, which was great for us. The action was shared in 5 regional and 1 national media, but it had a very huge impact on social media, more than 1,000 shares on Facebook, a lot of comments, more of them, like 90% supported the action, because this is a problem that is can be seen and can be found all over Bulgaria, and it occurred in the last 5 years. So we have more than 300,000 people total reach of this post, which is great for a small country. And the other main result was that there were questions from some of the opposite parties in the local parliament that asked the mayor what he think about this way of trimming trees. Some of the learnings that we have, that Placemaking Earth Challenge webinars were very useful, because the whole idea transformed from painting trees on the ground to this much easier and much more effective, I think, way. And for example, the trees expressions were suggestions from one of the participants of the webinars, which was great and added the science to another level. The other thing is, although the signs were removed, the power of the photo and the power of the social media were used very well in this case. And this is probably a result in some way with the collaboration with organization, in this way with activist organizations like Greenpeace Bulgaria, because through their exposure on their channels, we had such a big reach. And whiter, quicker, cheaper was the right tool for this action, because it didn't cost us much effort to do this. And some of the improvements that we think that can be done for further developing the topic, and they are like to have more direct call for action from the responsible authorities, not only to wait for their reply, because they just ignore the topic and the action. We will probably try to involve more people with different creative workshops related to this topic, so gain more support, more local support in this way. And we can also think of alternatives of sending our message, because this way it was very risky, and to rely on the media, because only one of them get on the place on time to see the signs and publish our text. And the last thing that we can improve is to look for support from experts, and probably stay with our face and our name in order to achieve more permanent and more sustainable change. And yeah, that's it. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Angel, for showcasing again your wonderful effort you're doing in the activism you're doing together with Informal, and using the tool tests and as a format to get attention to the problems of climate change, but through the, let's say, wrongdoing of the local municipalities. I think you're one of the bravest participants of the Tooltest Day initiatives we have, and also probably one of the bravest of the Placemake Earth challenge, in terms of really going head-to-head fight with local municipalities who are really kind of obsolete to people's wishes. Thank you so much for this presentation. It just shows really the wide variety of contributions we had over the 2 years of Placemake Earth challenge and 2 years of tool testing. It's really amazing to see how some of the topics are emerging completely spontaneously, like the citizen science or the activism, or gathering data, or structuring data, or giving the message, or just doing the right art pieces on the right public spaces to raise awareness. So there was so many layers to these webinars that we even didn't perceive it in that way since we started, but now we have matured a lot in these 2 years. So I would like to give the floor to our participants if there are any questions, or please just raise your hands, and we will listen to you and your suggestions, because that's very valuable for us as a Tooltest Day crew. Is there someone who would like to give us some feedback? In the chat, let me see if there are some questions. Right, so I think that there is a lot of conversation in the chat. That's also something that was very much present, an element of our webinars. People just felt so inspired that they use the chat all the time. Okay, we have, I think, something like 15 minutes left before the closure.
Milena, we have a hand.
We have a hand.
Yes, Jose.
I don't see the hand. Why do I see the hand?
Yeah,
It's Jose from Latin America.
I'm from
Jose,
Portugal. Hello,
please
hello.
go ahead. Now I see your head.
First of all, thank you
have to
very
do it
much.
physically.
It was an amazing presentation, amazing session. Thank you very much. It is really inspiring. Well, I'm from Portugal, and we are really keen to add our effort to this network. And somehow I've exchanged messages with Brian and Ethan. And my question is regarding how these toolkits are perceived by local authorities, because what I think is that you are trying to make the change, but most of the cases I'm concerned of regarding with the impact in the decision makers, because one thing is to call attention to communities or to our neighbors. Other is changing the way decision makers look to places and to the way they have to be changed. And that's my point here. How can these tools be absorbed, be understood by decision makers and local authorities? Because if you don't make these efforts so they can use it, and otherwise we are making against the wall all the time, of course, making amazing things, but not using inside the system, not changing inside the system.
Yeah, thank you, Jose, for asking this question. It's shall I answer it, or Todor, do you maybe want to answer? Otherwise, I'll just continue, because I think it's such an inspiring question, and it was at the beginning of the whole motivation of Tooltest Day crew to start with this, because we felt, just like you said, that to reach the decision makers with placemaking actions, which are quite soft all the time, quite social. They rely on small budgets. They rely on a lot of energy and activism, voluntarism from the people. How can we reach the decision makers then? And our tool within a tool, or let's say the idea at the beginning was, we need to visualize it in a way that shows the numbers and the data and the feedback of the people who are either producing the tool or applying that tool. That was the whole philosophy behind the Tooltest Day. Maybe you've seen the graphs at the beginning. So at this stage, we kind of collected a lot of data from all the examples that were happening in the last 2 years. And I think the next stage in this would be getting it more serious in cooperation with academia or with other professionals to get this message across to the policymakers, because that's the language they can understand, the language of numbers and of impact. And I think that's why this kind of network cooperation and this cooperation between, let's say, civic servants, professional designers, networks such as Placemaking US, Placemaking X, and Placemaking Europe is essential to get the right numbers to the decision makers so they can understand and get the credits for it. That would be my answer. I don't know if someone wants to jump in. Ryan, I see your hands, virtual and physical as well.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to add, so my strategy has been to get place-based organizations to put up small grant money to do this process. So, asking the business improvement district, hey, you'll get 5 projects done, a lot of community education for $5,000. That's an easy sell. And now that's instantiated in the budget. And also looking for grants. The farm stand was done with a grant from the county for mental health events for community coming out of COVID. So just like looking at the landscape for where there is, and then once you do something, we find that energy finds the next level of answers. So looking at this as a startup or seeding activity for those type of bodies.
Yes, that's exactly one of the best methods and strategies to get things done on the ground quite quickly, and also feel the impact of it and see the impact of it. So that's definitely an excellent strategy. What I'm always puzzled about is how can that be taken to a next level when you really influence the planning standards, but that's another discussion. I see here another hand from Cheryl. Cheryl, please. Let us hear your comment.
Yeah, I have to comment on this because I am now in the government side of things. And I'm actually here with 2 other colleagues, Rafael Clemente, who is my, biggest disruptor. But I came in as a local disruptor and then became, let's say, more like government official. And I think the best method I have to say is, for us, it was like, we would always throw kind of a party with whatever we were doing, and then invite the mayor and invite the commissioners and invite the government to show up to this event. And
Do
then
they
be
show
like,
up?
yeah, they would. And they would be very surprised that all of a sudden, like the first one we did about 7 years ago, it was an alleyway. And it was like, oh, we're going to hang out at the alleyway and have coffee. This is strange, but I like it. And then eventually became a project. But my biggest question is, this is the first time I sit through this. And I really wish for us, it's really big that to get involved in testing with others. We feel, at least for me, I felt like we've been kind of just in our city. And I guess what would be the next steps to be part of this like tool testing and do something?
Thank you so much. It's great to see how the tool testing is evolving and how it takes different shape in different contexts. And that's exactly what was our idea at the beginning when we started with tool testing. We were just curious to see how these all well-known tools that have been, repeated all over the time and reported about all over the time, how they really work in real life among people who are doing it. Tode, I see one physical hand, and that's Tode. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond like very briefly. I think you said a lot. I mean, of course, also I have to say like we're doing this because we it's a great excuse to actually get your hands dirty and to actually do something that you're not that comfortable with doing. I think that's you have seen it through the through the stories also what Ryan presented is like that these people that they never did stuff, they actually start doing this, doing that. I mean, helping each other. So it's this having this cohort of kind of encouraging each other. It's really setting the it's setting you up because like there is always tomorrow. That's the problem with our lives, right? So there is always tomorrow. We can do that tomorrow. But having this structure, like putting you in this kind of, that you kind of make a, not really a promise, but you kind of like support something, and then you are part of something bigger. It really encourages you to do it and to go. So you jump fences this way. I think it's simple as that, and I think it's great. The other thing that you're speaking about, I think there is no easy answer to that. Like, how do you make this institutional change? There is no easy answer to that. I think it's very specific in in different cases. And I would not go that brave and say, okay, this thing that we do here actually can like change local government perception. I cannot say that. We cannot say that. But what we can do is like we can speak about, okay, how we can change government perception or how we can help some people that want to change government perceptions to actually do it. And I think that's valuable enough. Even that part of it, it's valuable enough.
Yeah, it's there is a lot of pain, let's say, in when you have to really influence the policymakers or talk with policymakers, and somehow because they are not very trustful to these small-scale actions, they don't know it, they don't know people behind it. In a way, it's a little bit risky for decision makers and politicians to be connected directly with this. But on the other hand, it's, as I mentioned, it's the power of numbers and the impact and the participants that were that took part in these initiatives. It's something that is really growing, and that means that it has a value enough and an impact enough. Since we have not that much time, and I don't want really to go overdue, let's see if we can exchange some ideas about what could be the next Placemake Earth Challenge, or what could be the next Tooltest Day topic. And I see already here in the chat an idea for Tooltest Day for governments. Angel, can you a little bit elaborate how do you think it could be done? And Jose, maybe you can jump with some suggestions as well.
Jose, you can go if you have idea.
No, I think it's an amazing, because I think it's part of the challenge. How can we spread this experimentation culture inside the institutional organizations? Because the thing that these amazing things that you are doing is really how we can test very quickly with amazing outcomes, changings for our places or for our cities. So if you could create and stimulate local authorities to do the same, to begin to test before making wider transformations of cities. And I think this idea, eventually it can be hard to do it, but I think we should try to create and to spread this idea inside the decision makers, which have the power and the means to do this.
Yes, thanks a lot. You just gave us a homework to do, to think about how can we shape this tool testing for the government, or, without being too boring for the actual placemakers and designers who just want to improve the public space, or, do something about it. I have here two people I would like to actually call upon, and they gave their comments in the chat, but since they are such a valuable contributors to the community of Tooltest Day and Placemake Earth, Helene Gallis, can you tell us a little bit what you thought could be a good Tooltest Day or the Placemake Earth challenge next year?
Hi. Yeah, can you hear me properly?
Yes.
Good. No, I suggested getting
more youth
tools for youth or kids.
Yeah.
And it's because we find that the youth that we work with are amazed at finding out that, wow, they can actually, their voice can be heard. And that is quite powerful. And they're at a they're at a stage in life where they're sort of easy to inspire to become future placemakers and make good choices, like, become one of us, become like us.
Yes, I think that's a great understated value of these tool tests. It's this educational value of it, the way how you can learn by doing, and that's something that we can definitely do for as a tool test day for children, for kids, or for youth. And I'm sure we can shortlist it as a next year topic. And there is also similar to that from Pontiac, Michigan, from Jim Ross, from Co-Creation, Co-Design. Jim, how would that tool test day look? Because we do a lot of co-creation already, but there is never enough. So can you share with some ideas with us?
Family members who are taking care. Hi, everyone. It's Monica.
Hi, Monica.
I'm on Jim's Zoom.
I'll just transmit this question to you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, well, our co-design platform has kind of come out over a period of facilitating larger grants in our local context with Pontiac School District. And the last 6 years has been sort of an iteration dealing with a very controversial local demolition project. We were on the side of not demolishing, but anyways, we've tested it on Little Pocket Park, and it's systems thinking coupled with design thinking, and we use Mural as a platform, but the vision and game plan boards that we use, one's behind me now, that's a game plan board, and then there's a vision board across. But we found that with kids and with our community, it's a universal language that everyone can understand. You've got, everyone understands the concept of a vision. Everybody's got ideas, insights, and then we have 6 circles that we use to represent context of whatever the project is situated in. And then there's bold steps and, supports, challenges, and then moving into the game plan, it's stages and tasks, it's challenges again. And just navigating those simple things that become complicated typically with organizational rollouts with city administration, and it's like they can't think in that language, but communities and young people and placemakers, of course, do think that way. And it's it being digital allows it to be documented over time, so that any kind of outside organizations that come in, which we've seen a number, can become up to speed and get familiar with the context in a way that they might not get through the typical top-down organization.
Yes, thanks, Monica. It's a wonderful work that you're doing. It's also very complex work on the intersection of the, let's say, design thinking and system thinking. So it's again, it shows like just how rich the interpretation of the Tooltest Day is, and how many different wonderful practitioners we were able to get together. This is also the message to our sponsor. Please keep on sponsoring us, because there's so much great stuff coming on.
We would love to help with any co-funding operation as well. So let us know.
Excellent. That's a way how we help each other. I would like to conclude this webinar with just some kind of concluding words, and also a little bit of the messages about the next steps. Obviously, we're going to have a new series of tool testing in the year to come, and a new Placemake Earth challenge. And we're going to have a long talk with you, Ryan, to what is the best topic. And I think that we will finish this year as a Tooltest Day crew with the launch of our Tooltest Day website, because we have accumulated such a wonderful material over the 2 years. And we really want to, as I said again and again, we want to interpret it, to really digest it to numbers, and to digest it to very clear messages in order to get these change across. And we also would like to have it as a kind of repository for all of you wonderful people to have platform to connect and to communicate, and also to see what the webinars were like, to review them, look at them again, learn something new, and keep on exchanging the knowledge that we have in placemaking. Thank you so much again. And Todor, maybe you can really now close it down, or just give some closing remarks as well.
I think you summarized it well. I think I just want to thank everybody who joined and spent time with us. And as Helen said, I think this is after lockdown. I think I was also kind of missing that, having this awesome placemaking online meetings. Probably it was the most interesting thing from my online life. So thank you for bringing me this kind of very weird, but like nostalgia to COVID times, like lockdown times.
Oh, we want COVID to be back. The lockdowns.
Well, I'll not go that far, but okay. Thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much, and we will be back again very soon by the end of the year. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.